What's up, My Endurance Lifers, and welcome back to another edition of My Endurance Live. Super excited about today because if you're going to watch this, I know that you're probably like me and you just get super excited about shoes. It's one of the things that runners just, I don't know, we can't get enough of. I love them, and I hope that I shed some light on some of the terminology and with everything. Like, there's a lot of good deals out there right now, and a lot of people are buying shoes, getting ready for all the goals they have coming up with the new year and the rest of this year, and maybe they just want to buy 4 or 5 shoes because there's such good deals on them right now. So I'm going to go over terminology, what to look for when buying a shoe, and really, is it important or not, depending on what your goals are and what type of runner you are. But before we get into that, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to be part of these live editions, go to myendurancelive.com and download one of the free guides, and you can get a special invite to our Facebook group where I go live every week sharing something about running, whether it's mindset, motivation, or training, and just love to have you part of our community. So as always, before we get into the training, shout outs to people who ran this week. So awesome job, My Endurance Lifers. Super stoked on you guys. Now let's talk about shoes. So first and foremost, if you're online and you're going on YouTube and all that other stuff, learning about shoes can be confusing, and there's a lot of terminology that I'm going to break down in the simplest form, just so you don't get like hung up on it and waste too much time worrying about the small things when they really don't matter. So first I'm going to grab my road shoe. I run in Topos. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Topos. I used to run in Ultras. A lot of people know Ultras are famous for their zero drop and wide toe box, but they changed over the years for some reason. If you still like Ultras, more power to you. Like, they're a great company, they're a great shoe, but they changed. I don't like them. I found Topo and just can't get enough of them. So this is my Topo Magnifly 4, that is my everyday road trainer. And so I'm going to go over the list of terminologies. If you got my email, I listed them out. You can go back and check them later. So first and foremost is the upper. The upper consists of just everything that goes on the top part of the shoe. Depending on the brand and the make, there can be different materials made for the upper. Like in trail shoes, they'll have a piece of plastic or nylon or something to protect your toe, and then around the laces so they don't tear out, and then they might have an attachment in the back for gaiters. So that's a big difference between a trail shoe in the upper and a road shoe, which is a lot lighter material, less constricting, or less flexible, I should say, because we're not really worried about that much protection on the road, but more about performance. And our everyday road trainer like this is pretty much your run-of-the-mill. Every brand makes them. Then the midsole. What's the midsole? The midsole is the padding inside, and every brand has their proprietary formula that they spend years and years and years developing, and they say that theirs is better than everybody else, but I think it comes down to personal preference. So try it on in the store or online if they have a good return policy, and see which midsole you like best. It's personal preference when it comes to the midsole. When you get into the high performance shoes that have carbon and stuff like that, you might have a firmer midsole when you're looking for that quick reaction and that just mechanical response that a carbon plate will add. So if you're shopping on those higher performance racers, your midsole might be a little bit firmer, but I like a softer midsole. That's why I like running. And then the outsole. The outsole is pretty much everything that contacts the ground. So the outsole is the bottom and the sides. That makes up the outsole, and without question, a trail outsole is a lot different than a road outsole. And then they can be a combination of both, where it's a transition between trail and road, and then specific road, specific trail, different lug patterns for trails when it comes to the outsole. If it's like a mild trail where it's a lot of gravel road, to a really aggressive tread like this. This is called the Mountain Racer by Topo, which is for super technical trails. That's what this outsole is for. So when you're shopping for outsoles, consider what you're going to be running on. Pavement, a road shoe, what do you find? If you do a combination of both, there's lots of good brands out there. Ultra makes a transition shoe, Topo makes a transition shoe, Nike makes a transition shoe. Almost every brand out there that's bigger has transition shoes that go from road to trail. So you can pay attention to that shopping for your outsole. Okay, drop. Okay, this is where a lot of people get hung up on. Well, first of all, what is drop? So drop is the relation of heel to the ball of your foot, if it's tilted or not. Okay, so this shoe in particular is 0 drop. So that means that I have 28 millimeters. Oh, stack height. Let me go over stack height. So stack height is the cushion made up between the bottom of the outsole to where your heel is, and the bottom of the outsole to where the ball of your foot is. So stack height is the cushion in there. So these shoes have 28 millimeters of stack height. So with 0 drop, that means I have 28 in the back and 28 in the front, making them perfectly flat when I'm standing on the road. These shoes, the trail racers, have a drop of 5. So I have 33 millimeters of stack height in the back and 28 in the forefoot. So between here and here, they drop 5 millimeters. And lots of brands get more aggressive than this. Asics, Hoka, New Balance, they all have shoes that go an 8 millimeter drop or 12 millimeter drop. So why is drop important? Well, if you're new to running and you don't walk around barefoot very much, I would recommend starting in a 6 to 8 millimeter drop, 6 to 10 millimeter drop. The reason that I recommend that is it takes a lot of time to work up to a 0 millimeter drop if you're not used to walking around barefoot and running barefoot, because what that does is it allows us to use the full rotation of our Achilles tendon. And if you're used to wearing shoes, regular shoes all day long, that they typically have a 5 millimeter drop, or if ladies, if you're in high heels for office work or something like that, your Achilles really aren't used to this, and you can strain it pretty quickly if you transition to a zero drop right away. It takes about 6 months of going back and forth and changing your shoes, going from like a 6 millimeter drop to a 4 into a 0, and then working it in that way. So I wouldn't go into a 0 drop right away unless you walk around barefoot a lot. But why do they make such a high drop? To unload your Achilles and put the effort, the workload up into your calves and your hamstrings as opposed to your Achilles. What that does is it makes it more comfortable to run longer, slower though. There's not many racers out there with a high drop shoe, because they're trying to leverage all the mechanical leverage that their bodies can get, hence a 0 drop. So that's why they make drop, is to unload your Achilles. So new runners, 6 to 10, that's a comfort zone. If you're a veteran runner and you'd like that lower drop, I run in 5 millimeter drops, and my favorite trail shoe is the Topo Terra Venture 4, and it's a 3 millimeter drop. This is my go-to shoe, and I'll talk more about the difference between this shoe and this shoe as we talk about trail shoes in a little bit. But for my regular road shoe, it's 0 drop, and I love it. Can't get enough of it. Okay, rocker. What is rocker? Plain and simple, it is how easy it is to rock and transition from heel to toe. Okay, so if you see this shoe, it has a bunch of toe rocker. You might hear people talking about rocker. It's not a common term that people talk about when they're doing reviews on shoes, but it is there. And lots of times in the stores when we're shopping, we might not notice it because we're walking around, But when we get home and we start running, you might notice like, oh man, this shoe is really hard for my shoe to turn over. And that might be because it has a low rocker. Or like, oh wow, if this shoe feels effortless and almost too fast, that it's making me want to roll too much, and that's because it has a high rocker. So that's just something to take note of when you're shopping for shoes. As you can see here, this shoe has quite a bit of rocker, where this shoe kind of looks the same, but side by side they don't. Yeah, you can't tell, but there's less rocker in this shoe. It's all personal preference, what you like. Typically a road racing shoe will have a lot of rocker because you're really looking for that high turnover rate, especially if you're running at a faster pace, at a faster clip. If you're jogging, a lower rocker might help you at a lower jog, because you're really not pivoting and using your toes to propel you forward. So that's what rocker is. Trainers and racers, a trainer is just a shoe that you can wear every day and be comfortable. It's really not a high performance shoe, but it's more based on comfort. I was thinking as I started this video, I should have grabbed my daughter's racers, because I personally don't own a shoe of road racers. This is what I run every day, and this is what I run my half marathons in, what I run my marathons in, is just my daily trainer. Why? Because I personally don't think I'm fast enough to take take advantage of what a road racer is designed to do. It's like surfing. If you're a new surfer, you don't want to grab a high performance shortboard that the pros are using, because you're not good enough to use it. Same with racers. That, yeah, they'll feel cool, but are we really that good? I mean, if you're running at a sub-3 marathon or an hour-and-a-half half marathon, like, go for it. You're running really fast, and you'll probably gain that. I'm happy to break 4 on my marathons. I'm happy with my hour 45 half marathon. So I'm just happy in these shoes. I'm not going to spend the extra money to get a carbon plate and spend $400 or $500 on a pair of racers. Okay. Racing flats. You'll hear that term buzzed around, especially in like the cross-country community. If you have kids racing cross-country, or if you're a cross-country racer, the 5K distance, 10K sometimes, these are a road racing shoe that has zero drop. That's all that is. It's a racing flat is a road racer with zero drop. So you can use, and minimally padded too. The advantage of that is they are super lightweight, allow for a really quick turnover, and that's what they're designed for. As far as like marathon running, racing flats, people can work up to it when their bone density gets strong enough to do it, and there's lots of people who race marathons and racing flats, but they have a trainer that goes along with it, because racing flats wear out your body really quick, just because of the minimal padding, the minimal stack height in them, and the zero drop. So that's what a racing flat is, if you hear somebody using that term. Rock plates. Rock plates are mainly in hiking and trail running shoes. This pair has a carbon plate in the right here, right there. That outline is a carbon plate that is in the shoe to protect you from rocks, especially trail running, for roots, stuff that's we don't want to bruise the bottom of our foot, and that's what it's designed for. It does inevitably make the shoe a little bit stiffer, so you will feel that when you're running. This shoe is actually a lot stiffer than this shoe, even though this shoe has almost 6 millimeters more of padding because of that rock plate, but I actually like it. It allows me to run with a minimal stack height, and the way I like that in trail running is because as the padding gets, as you get more padding, more stack height, that you feel the ground, and you can kind of lose your balance. And in these shoes, I've actually twisted my ankle and rolled my ankle on a trail that kind of went off camber and I wasn't ready for it, where these shoes I feel was super connected to the ground. So I prefer these for my shorter distance trail runs and ultras. Up to a 50K I'll wear these. Anything longer for my ultras, then I have another shoe I should have brought in, but I didn't, that I've really fallen in love with, the Topo Pursuits, that is a zero, it's this shoe but in a trail setting. So if you are into trail running and you have rocky terrain or routes that jut out, look into a shoe that has a rock plate. Or if you like hiking, trail shoes are an excellent pick for hiking, especially if you like hiking fast. You can wear them all day and not get tired. Wide toe boxes, Topo, Ultra, you can get wide selections in almost every variety out there. Every brand makes a wide selection. If your feet are prone to swell when you run, then a wide shoe might be a good choice for you. If you like that really snug connected feel, then a narrow shoe like a Hoka or something like that or a Nike might feel excellent around you. Me personally, I like the wide toe boxes, specifically because of ultra running, spending hours on your feet, even hiking. Just I like my feet to move around a little bit. I like my toes to be able to spread and feel the ground. I feel like I have a better connection with the ground with a wider toe box, and it helps me avoid blisters too, with your toes rubbing either in the shoe or against each other. So that's another thing to consider when choosing a shoe, is how your feet are going to wear and rub. Also, triathletes, one thing to consider is when you're going into transition in triathlon and you're coming off the bike, throwing on your road shoes, pull tabs. Pull tabs make a world of a difference. That way you can leave your shoes tied, or you can use stretchy laces. But sometimes when you're shopping for a new brand, you might not even notice that. I didn't notice that until I used them, and I was like, oh no. But I'm more than happy with the shoe, so it's a thing I'm willing to sacrifice. But the brand I came from before, they had a little pull tab, and when doing a triathlon, that just makes your shoe just slip on so much easier, because by now it's the end of the race, it's the last thing, your feet are a little bit swollen, if not still a little bit wet and sweaty from getting off the bike in the run or the swim. And so if look for something that has like a little, like Hokas and Ultras have a little tab that's not a pull tab, but just a part of the shoe that sticks out that helps you slip it on. So that's one thing to consider too if you're a triathlete, or if you just don't like tying your shoes. So I know a lot of people don't like tying their shoes. I'm one of them, and I love that pull tab. Wish Topo put that on there. So hope this helps you understand more about shoes and what they're looking for. The main things to really consider are, do you have room in the toe box, especially trying them on. I always size up half a size. Road, trail, it doesn't make a difference. Size up half a size, especially if you're running downhill, so you're not jamming your toes. But that's more about fit and more about preference, aside from terminology. Rocker makes a huge difference with me, even though it's not talked about a lot. Drop is a really big thing to consider, depending on your running level and how long you've been running. So even though a zero drop shoe might feel fantastic in the store, if you've never ran in it, you might be prone to injury or really sore Achilles tendons and calves leading into it. So I hope this helps you. Stoked on you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Tuesday on another edition of My Endurance Live.